If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement, Male Advantage ebook, or my personal workout and diet plan, all links are in the bio. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about why I quit playing sports around about 5 years ago, okay? Why I completely quit about 4 years ago, but it was about 5 years ago where it first entered my brain and I was like, okay, I need to switch this up, okay? I think I went to Toronto to live and I started focusing more on the gym and I started changing, because it's not an overnight thing, okay? Because you might say, well, you know, you've been in the gym for 5 years. It's like, no, I've just kind of dabbled with it. But I started to learn, okay, the gym is probably more important than sports along that journey, okay? And we're going to go through why I did that. We're going to look at a bunch of pictures of athletes and day-to-day male models and stuff, and the difference in their physique, their facial features, the different standards that they're held to, and just so many more topics around that, okay, guys? But I was playing for... When I was young, I did all sports, okay? I was doing just everything that involved cardio. So just boxing, running, long jump, marathons, well, not marathons, but like long distance cross country. I was a sprinter. I used to do 100, 200 meters. Tried 4. No, you need to train like crazy for that and build your legs up. That was not nice. But my main thing was football. I used to play football, soccer to you guys in the US. I got to a high standard. I was playing for Forest Green Rovers. I'm on a championship manager game. I can't remember which one. My mate, I think, said it was 2012 / 2013 or something like that. So if you have the old championship manager games, go and take a look and see which one I'm on. I don't know. And that was like 2 training sessions per week. It was like 2 matches per week. It was just intense cardio all the time, just running around. It was impossible to really build like proper muscle. If you did, it was out of season, but nobody knew what to do, okay? Nobody really knew how to get in the gym and build up your legs. Like, if I had the knowledge that I've got now back then, I think I probably would have made it to, like, Premier League level. I just think, like, my legs now are about 4 times bigger. You guys have seen the picture that I put out the other day. A lot of people said, let's see the full body, the face, whatever. Like, yeah, I'll bring it up on screen now. I was, like, 16, I think, here. 15, 16. It's not that embarrassing. I think I look all right, like not great, but all right. It's a lot different, but it's not too bad. But yeah, you're just doing a ton of cardio all the time. You don't really know what you're doing training wise. You think you're fit, you think your legs are strong because you're just running all the time, okay? And this is like the first sign of missing out on the male advantage, and that's what I think sports does. You know, it's not all sports. A lot of sports are different, okay? I'm talking about more cardio-based sports. Let's talk about swimming. Let's talk about tennis, especially. Like, they're on court for like 3 to 5 hours. It's just, no, it's not the one, okay? And we'll see an example of that in a minute. Football, rugby somewhat. You know, if you're in the pack, you can be a little bit bigger, but there's still a lot of cardio involved. But then, you know, basketball's similar. But those guys are naturally big. Most are on HGH2 and TRT. Like, you see their jawlines just go like that in the first season, right? It's not really fair. But then you get sports like American football inside the NFL. Those guys, okay, it might be like a 4-hour game, okay? Like, we've all watched the Super Bowl. It's like 4 fucking hours long, and it doesn't need to be. Actual game time is like 11 minutes, okay, of like players actually moving from whistle to whistle. I was looking earlier, that's what if I'm wrong, sorry for you NFL fans, but they said like 11 minutes the average player is actually playing for. That's why in the NFL you get, yes, steroids too, but you get guys who are absolutely jacked and they're able to maintain it because they're doing somewhat HIIT cardio. High intensity, 10 seconds maximum stop. It's like a sprinter, okay? So those sort of sports are okay in that sense. But it still takes away some of your time and focus and whatever, okay? But my main constraint, or my main reason, if you would, for quitting football, and once I'd gone past 18, 19, I knew I wasn't going to make it anymore. I had a bunch of calf injuries. Every time I got to like the 40th minute, I cramped up. It was just horrible. I had weak legs, okay? You can see from the picture. I'll bring it back up on screen now. You can see the difference. Skinny legs, big legs. Like, if I had the legs I got now, it would have been easy. I'm actually way lower body fat percentage than I was then too. Probably like 5% lower. Crazy to think that you know, were trying to be a pro footballer and you just didn't have the pieces in place, you know. But I just got to a stage in my life where I was like, I'm not getting paid for this anymore. I'm doing this recreationally. I'm doing this to play with my mates. I'm enjoying it. I'm scoring a lot of goals. I'm playing well. But I was like, for what? Okay, why am I doing this? Like, to be the best player in my area, who my friends know and people congratulate me and give me some credit. But for what? Like, this is my dilemma. I was like, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm wasting a lot of time and money. And also, I'm staying in football-based cardio shape for 90 minutes per week. Because I wasn't training at that point. It wasn't as serious. You know, I could just turn up on match day, have a good game, go home, whatever. I was doing hill sprints in the week and whatnot. But it was just, the standard was very easy. I could score like 4 or 5 goals per game. It was quite easy local level football. But like I said, it's 90 minutes per week. And my body had been molded, or I'd kept myself in football shape in order to play well for 90 minutes per week. And then the rest of the week, you're a skinny guy. Okay? You're not in the shape you want to be in. You don't look the way you want to be. Whereas I had a discussion with another lad. He was playing at like right back. He was quite like muscular, and his performances slowly dipped. Like, he was really quick and fit, and they slowly dipped. And I remember saying to him, you've put on a lot of muscle, is it affecting your performance? He was like, yeah, it is. Like, it's the trade-off. And then we got discussing, like, week in, week out, and I was like, yeah, but man, like, how much better is your actual life getting? And he's quite a handsome guy, like Italian looking. And I remember he was saying that he's getting like so many girls. Like, every time I saw him, he was dating a new girl. Like, he had a pretty poor job. I think he was just working in like a shop, just stocking the shelves, right? But he used to have girls coming in and like grabbing his number and stuff like that. He'd always be on a date, always be sleeping with someone. And it only happened once he started putting the muscle on. And I just said to him, I was like, is there any point in being in football shape for 90 minutes per week and staying lean and fit when you're not being paid and there's no real trophy or benefit or fame, or like, there's zero benefits to doing this apart from, you know, people say stay healthy, but once you go over 20 minutes of cardio, you end up producing a ton of estrogen, cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and then that converts into DHT. And it actually starts ruining your body, okay? You actually, like, people who do a lot of cardio die young. I found that. People who play a lot of sports, they actually die young. And it's never like heart disease or something like that. It's always like a cancer or a leukemia or something like that, like blood diseases where the body just got depleted, or the body just shuts down. They just die all of a sudden, like peacefully, whatever. Like, it's hard to. I believe your body's almost like a battery, and just constant cardio just drains you. It's just very hard to do. But I said to this guy who was in my team, I was like, if you get in great shape, like if you were something like 95 kg of lean muscle and you were too heavy to play football, for 90 minutes per week, yeah, a little bit of a kick in the teeth. You know, I used to be Mr. Football. I love it. It's nice to get the ball and take on 2-3 people and smash it top corner. You feel like the man. But then outside of those 90 minutes, if you are the 95 kg shredded guy, guess what? You are the man. But you're the man in real life on a day-to-day basis for the rest of the 99% of your life. And that's how I found. And that's me and this guy came to the same conclusion. We were like, we're staying in shape for 1% of our lives. Like, we're only benefiting off 1% of our lives here, and we're not being fucking paid for it. And I've always said this thing before about, I wrote articles on this before, I've never made a video on it, but your hobbies, if you're not being paid, like let's say you do gaming, but you're a streamer, you're Nick Merckx, and you get paid for it. Play as much as you fucking can, okay? If you're not being paid for your hobby, do it less. So you might be a gardener, okay? You love gardening, you like going out in the garden on a weekend and gardening. If you're not being paid for it, the majority of that time spent is a waste, okay? Now, it's not to say you shouldn't do what you love, you know, 1, 2, 3 hours per week, whatever, but when people do like, oh, I did 2 whole days, like, did 2 whole days gaming, you're like, but you're not being paid for it. It doesn't make sense, and that's the conclusion I came to with sports. There's zero benefits outside of actually on the pitch or on the court or on, whatever surface that you're playing on. And there's zero benefits actually in real life. There's only like one benefit, which is the sport in performance. Did you get the W? Maybe some, your cardio's good. Like somebody who plays sport versus somebody who doesn't, and both don't lift weights. The person who plays sport is obviously fitter and healthier. Like I get all that, right? Puts you in some great shape. But at the same time, you just don't look good. You don't ever transition to a man too. And I'll tell you what's really key about sports is most people play sports from obviously when they're a lot younger, but let's just say by the time you start filling out as a man, or you should be filling out as a man, or things outside of sports start to matter more. Okay, so when you're young, if you're the quickest and the best player, everybody loves you. If by the time you're 25, by the time you're 35, let's say, if you don't have $1 million in the bank, everyone's like, bum, right? It's just the way life changes. It doesn't have to be $1 million. I'm just throwing figures out. You get the point I'm trying to make, okay? But most people play sports from 16 to 30. That's when they play competitively, even if they're not being paid for it. Everybody I know kind of plays non-competitive. I'm not non-competitive, but non-professional football, non-professional tennis, non-professional hockey, whatever it might be, rugby. They join a club at 16, 18. They play until they're 30. They have kids and whatever, and they might then drop out and be like, okay, I've got other priorities to, put my focus into. It might be 35. The problem with this is from 16 to 35 is when you should be building your male physique, okay? You should be, for example, I want to do a video soon where it's kind of Justin Bieber when he was young, real handsome, good-looking guy. The look suited him. Now that he's getting older, the same look doesn't suit him. It's almost like some 27-year-old bum. He's just like some skinny guy who never transitioned into a man. He's still a little boy in a man's body, and it looks terrible. It used to look great. Same thing doesn't work as you get older, okay? And that's what's happening to a lot of guys when they play sports from 16 to 35. They're still that skinny marathon frame, and they never transition. They never become a man. They never... I said to you guys before, most men never reach their peak, or their full potential, should I say, because your highest potential would be your peak, okay? But most guys never reach their full potential. And it's mainly because they are never focused on building that masculine physique during those years, especially 25 to 35. And that's when a lot of guys are at the peak of their sport and performance. And I know it myself, I'm 28 right now. I moved back to kind of where I grew up to look after my dad, as you guys know. I point that way because he literally used to live up that hill. Obviously, he's passed away now. And when I moved back, everybody was like, do you want to play? Do you want to play again? Do you want to play a game? Do you want to, are you free this weekend? Are you in good shape? Oh, it doesn't matter. Come and turn up. Come and train with us. Everybody will encourage you when you're 28, you're in great shape, you're kind of in the peaks of your power. Whereas in reality, you want to put those years to good use in 2 reasons for me. I was I'm losing a lot of time, which could be invested into success, shit I actually care about. And number 2, or 3 reasons, that's number 1. Number 2 was the physique. Obviously, I just could not put the muscle on while I was dedicated to cardio. I felt like it had no benefit. And number 3, if I ever wanted to just be I'm going to jump on a flight and go, but I had a game the next day, I was letting my teammates down. So I'm kind of locked in one area. Like I said to you guys before on that video about where I was going around Dubrovnik and up the Dalmatian coast, etc. And I talked about Ronaldo, and I said his life's great, but he's stuck in one city, Turin, while he has to play, during the season. I had that same thing where I was stuck. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere because I was so dedicated to this team that I had to play for each week, but I wasn't getting paid. And I'm like, why am I stuck in one area when I could be flying around the fucking world, enjoying myself, taking all these girls out, whatever? And I'm stuck in this one place playing for this team, and I'm proper dedicated and giving my life services to this team when there's no benefit to my life outside of maybe the trophy at the end of the season, which doesn't mean anything really. You did it with your mates. It's great. It feels good. You've got that team bond, which is always nice to have. But outside of that, I was like, this is kind of pointless. My life sucks because of sport. And as soon as I quit football, you can do both. I know my friend who I train with, he's bigger than me. He's genetically a beast. And he's very big, and he's getting lean by the day. But he was saying to me the other day, like, it slightly affects sporting performance, like the bigger you get. He was like, I don't know if I can do both. And he raised the topic. I was like, funny you say that. I've been saying this for years. So you can, but it's not. One's going to eventually lose. Okay, if you want to be in elite fitness shape, sports is going to lose. If you're going to keep playing sports, you're never going to get in good or elite fitness shape. Because it just simply won't allow, okay? You can eat as many calories as you want. You can go and lift as many weights as you want. Your body will respond to doing 90 minutes of cardio 4 times per week at training, at the game again. Like, it's tough, okay? And then if you want to stay fit throughout the week, you might have to go on a run again. Like, it's just 2 different lifestyles. It's like Usain Bolt trained for the 100 and 200. Just about doable. Very tough, but just about doable. You can't train for the 100 and the 800. You can't do both. Like, there's 100 and 400, you still cannot train for that. Okay? Like 2 and 4, Michael Johnson did it, but 1 and 4, you can't do it. Like, even, they're both sprint races, but they're so different. And it's only a 300 meter difference. I'm talking night and day when I'm talking about fitness and cardio. So many guys, how'd you get in shape? I'm going to go for a run. It's like, you're not going to look good, okay? Like, how many sports guys do you know actually look good? We've got Ronaldo. But I wouldn't say, like, Ronaldo's shredded. He's like, people say 8% body fat. He's not. He's like 11, probably 11% body fat. Some PEDs, yeah, he's using steroids and whatever. Of course he is. He's microdosing because he's worried about his hairline. I've seen all the fucking evidence on this, okay? But at the same time, like, he looks good. It's better than the average footballer. It's not optimum for football, hence why I know he's on PEDs as well. Optimum is like 12%. 10's probably too low for sporting performance. Maybe it's pretty close, okay, but 12 might be better. So it doesn't make sense to be that shredded. He's doing a lot of that for modeling. He makes more money off Instagram than his actual football career. Like, there's a lot more to it than that. But I look at his arms, they're very skinny, okay? Like, it's not a body that I would want. Once he's got clothes on, he looks really skinny. He doesn't look too good, okay? His muscle mass isn't that big. People say he's 84 kg. He's not, because I'm 84 kg. And I would say next to him, I'd make him look small. I'm an inch taller. I would say my arms are like 3 times bigger than his. I know, like, it doesn't look like it front on, but you've all seen pictures. I don't think, and he always takes pictures when he's flexed as well, like he's pumped up, he's just lifted loads of weights. Like, he's like 77, 78 kilograms. I'd be shocked if he was any heavier, okay? He's got quite big legs, but I'd be shocked at that low percentage of body fat. They just want to make him sound better than what he is, like Vince McMahon in WWE. If he's the best in like a cardio-based sport, so I'm not talking about like a DK Metcalf here, who is just doing explosive sprints stop, because that guy's built like a god, obviously steroids again, but I'm talking about cardio-based sports, like Roger Federer, he looks like shit. You've got Ronaldo, if he's the best of the best, if that's the best you got to offer, I'm not that impressed, okay? And he's also had, like £5 million worth of fucking work done on his face, his like Botox, his teeth, like it's a nightmare what that guy's doing. He's getting stem cells and everything, like he's really put a lot of money into himself, okay? He's got like personal trainers, dietitians, chefs, like it's just not really replicable for the average person on the street who's playing sports too. Like, you're not going to be at that level, plus the microdosing of steroids that he's doing. Yeah, good luck with that, okay? To be honest, let's move over to the screen now, actually. I want to move over. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of pictures that I've captured, and I'm going to show you very good examples of this. And once you see them, you'll go, okay. Because there's a lot of guys, like Jack Grealish is a great example. If you Americans don't know who he is, he just got transferred for £100 million to my team, Manchester City. And he's like a heartthrob. Like, all the young girls in England are like, oh, he's so handsome, Jack's so beautiful. See, I don't think he is, but my standards are higher. Okay, so he's a handsome guy for the average guy on the street in the UK who plays football, he's a celebrity and has millions in the bank. I'm talking about like the David Gandhis of this world, the John Cortajanas, the Jeremy Meeks, like the Jeff Logans. Like, that's the industry that I'm in, okay? And these guys make, these sports stars look like shit. And what the one reason is because they're doing so much cardio all the time. You cannot transition from a boy to a man when you're constantly playing sport and doing cardio. And I'll show you some of these pictures. You watch this, guys. Your mind's going to be blown. So I just started the camera back up again, guys, because I remembered one more thing that I missed, which is the number of injuries you get when you're playing sports too, okay? Now, I've got a really bad knee injury, which changes the way that I squat and the way that I deadlift. I have to do a sumo technique because if there's too much pressure on my knee, I always get this real stiff pain going through it. And it's from an old footballing injury that I got, okay? And so many people have got this same sort of thing where they played sports for so long that they start picking up injuries. Now, sometimes you got old injuries that play you up moving forward into the future. But then you also get injuries in real time. So let's say you do balance the gym and sport. You say, Chris, I reckon I can do both, okay? Yeah, fair enough. You know, some people have done it in the past. You're never going to be at 100% in either. But you can balance them to some extent if you love what you do. You love the sport that you play in. But let's say you play rugby, okay? You get in a tackle, somebody comes down, lands on your neck. And now, you know, it's nothing too serious. You know, obviously with your neck it's always serious, but it's nothing too serious in terms of like not going to be able to walk again. But you get an injury that puts you out of action in the gym, and I mean fully out of action in the gym, like where you're at your best, for 6 months. Okay, let's just say it's a real stiff pain. Every time you go to do overhead presses or bench press or whatever, your neck tightens up, it just feels horrible. Okay, let's say you're a goalkeeper in football and you bust your shoulder up. I mean, I don't know how you're going to out-train that. I don't know, you know, and it causes you problems forever. It's like, oh, now I can no longer bench press. I've got to change it. I can't do dumbbell press because it puts so much weight. When I drop them, it hurts my shoulder. I'm going to have to get rehab. I'm going to have to pay for it. It's almost unnecessary, guys. It's almost like, why am I doing this? I'm not being paid. I'm butchering my body, which is affecting my gym progress. This is the most painful thing in the world. You know, it's just messing up your entire life for no reason. I've got 2 rules when it comes to fitness. People say, what's your biggest tips? I'm not even sure they're in the ebook, actually. No, one is, yeah. But I've got 2 of my biggest tips for getting in shape. Number 1 is quit your job if you can afford to. Because, you know, I go to the gym at 9 a.m. now. I sleep more so that I get better gym results. I get an extra hour's sleep. I've eaten, I've done everything I need to do in the morning. I arrive at the gym at 9. Everybody else shoots off to work. It's empty. I get to do whatever I want to do. I can film. It's perfect, okay? I can come home. I can cook for 2-3 hours. You see, I work late. I work till like 10 o'clock at night, so it makes up for it. But I see fitness as work for me. I have a supplement company. I have fitness courses now. Like being in the gym, being in shape is work for me, okay? So that's why I do it. But that's one of my biggest tips. Now, my second biggest tip is don't get injured. Just don't get injured. Don't push yourself to that point where you're going to fucking have a spasm in your pec like that guy did on social media. I can't remember the British guy. You know, his pec just tore like straight off his chest. Just don't push it to that kind of extent. Just stay, you know, within your limits. Don't go and play sport and get your fucking leg broke. And now you can't do leg days for 6 months. Or a year, sorry. And then it's going to take a year to get your legs back to where they were before. It's like you just lost 2 years in your journey. It's pointless, okay? And you notice both of those tips there. One's time related, the other one's injury related. They're not even fitness related, but they make such a big difference in your journey and in your transition from going to a boy to a man, okay? It's just, you know, the amount of injuries you get in sport is not even worth risking it. Okay then, guys, let's start with Jack Grealish, as I said earlier, okay? He's considered an absolute heartthrob in the UK at the moment. All the girls love him. He's got like big brown eyes and lovely hair, okay? And obviously he's pretty low percentage body fat because he's playing football. But I look at him here, I'm not particularly blown away. I can see why, but personally, I think you make him bold and he's immediately ugly. Like, 90% of guys are like that because they're not working on other areas of their life. I've explained this in multiple videos, okay? They don't know how to train for, or they don't know how to build up aesthetics over features. So, do I have nice hair? It's like, yeah, but do you have a decent bone structure? Do you have a strong submental zone? Like, there's loads of little aspects like that, okay? And this is considered like top level in British sports at the moment, and I'm not blown away, if I'm being honest with you, okay? And like, here's another picture of him side on. Yeah, not blown away. Like, the jawline's not very good. It sits back a lot. He's got this saggy submental zone. Yeah, granted, he's out of breath bending over, but that's not exactly like a solid jawline, okay? I'm not overly impressed. The maxilla bone's pretty low down. Like, he's just a young 25, 26-year-old guy with nice hair and low percentage body fat. It's, you know, and this is what cardio does for you. It never really transitions you, okay? And let's look at the shape he's in. So we've got a picture here. Okay, that's his body. Like, yeah, for athletic performance, this is like the peak of the peak. If you wanna run around a football pitch for 90 minutes plus extra time and whatever, big strong legs on him, low percentage body fat, you know, arms are small, pecs are small. Yeah, it's ideal. Okay, it's ideal. And walking around the street in 1980 in Rome, yeah, this is perfect. You know, this is Stud Muffin McGee, but in modern life, this doesn't cut it. Imagine this guy like working on his submental zone, and imagine him chewing gum and doing orthotropics, and then getting in the gym and putting on like 10 kilograms of lean muscle. It's a completely different human being. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't pay for him to do that. For him, he's a footballer. Like, it pays for him to run around and stay lean and maintain what he's got right now, because he's getting paid for it. But this is my debate. You guys aren't. It's like when people say, "Oh, the other day I said about the physique. I said something like being big and lean." It was the one about the subscriber posted about the 3 different body types, and some people said, "Yeah, but MGK, he's like tall and skinny, and he's got Megan Fox." And it's like, yeah, but he's famous and rich. Okay, it makes a huge difference. Like I've always said, Justin Bieber's not a good-looking guy. Like, current Justin Bieber. He used to be as a kid, but he's not transitioned into a man. Yet he could probably get any woman he wants. Like, girls will be like, "Oh my god, he's beautiful, he's so cute." He's not, okay? Like, on the street, average guy, he's probably below average, okay? He's probably below average. Like, he just doesn't strike me as something. Like, he dresses like a bum. He's sloppy looking. He just looks scrappy, kind of looks homeless. Puts a suit on, looks like he's wearing his dad's oversized suit to a fucking wedding. Like, it doesn't look good. But guys go, "I want to look like Justin Bieber because he gets women. Like, he's with Hailey Bieber and she's a model. Like, oh, that's what girls like." And you're like, no, guys, he's famous. He could show up wearing a bin bag and go and, you know, tie an umbrella to his fucking forehead, and girls would be like, "He's so hot." Like, it literally doesn't matter. You could think of the craziest thing ever. You could rub mud in his face and girls would be like, "That's the new look this year. That's sexy." Right? So you cannot base yourself off these like sports stars, and that's, if you're not getting paid and you haven't made it in real life, basing yourself off like Ronaldo or Jack Grealish or, you know, I don't know who you would, you know, a lot of American sports are very explosive, so the guys can be bigger, they can be more padded, but trying to think of like cardio-based US sports, even the NBA players are quite big, like I said, because they're not exactly, you know, they're doing suicides, but it's not long distance. Like, Premier League footballers are running miles per game, okay? Like, Champions League finals, some players have ran like 16 kilometers in the game. It's ridiculous. That's just not happening in US sports. So I'm trying to think of, like, I guess you've got marathon runners and stuff, you know, it just doesn't look good. It's not a good physique, okay? Now let's compare this to somebody like a David Gandy, okay, who's a male model, okay? Much better looking. Like, you see I'll put these side by side in editing as well. Naturally, David Gandy is a better looking guy, but he just looks better all round. Like, the extra muscle mass added to his body, and he's not particularly huge, but the added muscle mass, the added mass that it gives his frame, the added kind of bone structure that it gives him, you know, the muscle in the face. Like, muscle does distribute around the body pretty evenly. It'd be weird if your like head and neck stayed the same size, okay? You still have to train these things, but your body does kind of pad out, so to speak, and it just makes him overall look better. And this is what I would call a traditionally good-looking guy, okay? It wouldn't be somebody like a Jack Grealish. I think that's very low standards. I think that's very good for a sporting sense when you're just jogging around a football pitch, but these are the type of men that I aspire to be like, okay? Some real top level shit where they're actually men. They're not just little boys with money. And that's, I got nothing against Jack Grealish just signed for my team. I like being honest and just showing you guys the truth. But when you put these two side by side, I mean, there's no competition. Give these guys the exact same amount of money and fame, and I mean, there's no competition. If they're both average guys on the street, just, working 9 to 5 jobs, again, there's no competition. Like, it doesn't even come close. If David Gandy's bald, he's super handsome. If Jack Grealish is bald, he's going to have to go to the gym for 5 years to reclaim any sort of respect back that he had before. And that's because David Gandy's entire life is based around aesthetics. Like, he has to look good, and he's based it around the gym. His facial exercises, submental zone exercises. He's probably, got an exact skin routine. He's probably not doing high-intensity cardio. He's probably not doing long-distance cardio because he knows it'll ruin his body. It adds stress to the body. It makes you age quicker. It's just little examples like that, okay? Another picture of him here. I imagine you guys probably remember this. It's just another level. Like, that is what you would call, like, the alpha male. Like, that is top of the tree. Now, granted, Jack probably gets paid more. Ronaldo obviously gets paid a lot more and whatever. But it's just like, you're not going to get that kind of money from sports. Like, if you're not going to make Ronaldo, Grealish, or even, like, championship level money, then why are you chasing down that kind of lifestyle? Like, why are you going and doing a ton of cardio? Why are you trying to get lean without doing 2 years of bulking first, in order to get those gains? Like, it sounds really strange, right? But in order to be a good-looking guy, you have to get fat first. I know that sounds insane, but in order to be like a top-level David Gandy-looking guy, like, he's done it too. I remember he was talking about the bulks that he did. He went to do modeling. They said he was too big and muscular, so he went and got bigger and muscular, like, as a fuck you to the industry. And then obviously became the most famous and well-paid male model in the world, which is fantastic, really, because those skinny model guys, it don't do it, does it? It's just not the one, really. I've never understood that. I don't know who they're advertising to, because I don't think many guys look like that at all. Most guys are fat, to be honest, right? But David Gandy went through his bulks. The average guy needs to go through their bulks, and it's if you look at most of the best looking guys in the world, or who have got the best bodies, the best frames, at one point they were fat. They either did 2 years of bulking, or they were fat and they started lifting weights and they transitioned into looking, like somebody really good. Like Henry Cavill was called Fat Cavill when he was at school. Like, you do have to do like 2 years of bulking, and you're not going to be able to do that if you're a professional footballer. You can't take time out to work on your aesthetics. Like, it's taken Ronaldo like 15 years since he started his career of taking microdosed PEDs every single day and having exact coaches in place, going and getting stem cells and all sorts. It's just impossible for the average person to do if they're still doing cardio. Like, Ronaldo would look like an entirely different person had he not been doing all these things. I think I've got a picture here. Look. This is Ronaldo when he was young, okay? Like, look how much work has gone into that. He's obviously paying somebody to take care of his skin. He's obviously, his eyes look way brighter. He's obviously pumping different shit into his body, like nutritional wise. He's just cleaned up his entire act. Like, his barber's doing wonders for him. He's got his teeth done. Like, it looks as though he's had like some level of Botox in his face. It almost just seems too strong. Like, there's nothing, it's not moving like it used to, okay? Like, this guy's pumped money into his body. Like, the average person, again, is not going to be able to do that. So he's able to sustain the two, obviously, as I said, because of money, okay? Now, I've got a picture here of Roger Federer, tennis player. I mean, again, guys, like, this is probably the greatest tennis player of all time. This guy's a super athlete. He runs for like 3 hours straight. Cardio off the charts. Ridiculous skill level. Probably a huge power output. Like, it's just inevitable, okay? And he looks like shit. And that looks like your dad in the 90s on the beach, doesn't it? It's just not impressive. And yet, people believe, and it's common knowledge, it's common incorrect knowledge, but it's common knowledge, that if you want to get in shape, you got to go outside, you got to run, you got to put your headband on, your sweatbands, you got to put your trainers on, your shorts, and you got to run as far as you can, as long as you can, and then you say, hey, I burnt 1,000 calories. That means I'm going to look really good this time next year if I keep running. Wrong. You're going to just be skinny fat, okay? It just doesn't work. Men need muscle. Cardio doesn't work for men. I've said in my latest ebook, the workout and diet plan that I've just released for you guys since I got in shape. I've made all these mistakes in the past, okay? And I said in that book, and I promote this on the channel often, When you're a man, you either walk or you sprint, you don't jog. Okay, walking and sprinting does wonders for our bodies, but jogging just ruins them. And this is what long distance cardio does. And this is why I quit playing sport, because I used to look like this without the, I don't know what this is, the extended pube region. I don't know what this big fluff ball is here. But I had the hairy chest and everything, you know, the slug line, and I was in roughly about this shape. And it's, you know, probably skinnier. And I thought, I'm in great shape. I'm running all the time. My cardio's great. I'm really fit. But you just don't look good. And I mean, again, you take his hair off and he looks awful. It's because he's not stacked with low percentage body fat. And that's why when people say stuff like, The Rock, Jason Statham, yeah, because they've been through their bulks and their body transformations. You know, you add hair to The Rock or Jason Statham, or what, I've seen a picture of Jason Statham with hair. He looks like an absolute stud. And it's because they're more masculine orientated than a lot of these guys, okay? But everybody has their heroes as like sports-based people. I know a lot of young kids make this mistake. If they're like 16, Ronaldo's their hero, Federer's their hero, whatever, and they go out and they do a ton of cardio and they're sprinting around, jogging around, like just hours and hours and hours. Yeah, I'm really fit, my cardio's great, and it's like, it's zero benefits for you in an actual civilian male life, okay? It just does not help. And that's one of the top guys ever. Now, another good example is Roy Keane. Look at this guy, okay? He's got a little bit of Colin Farrell about him. The shaved head, the high cheekbones, low percentage body fat. Real handsome guy. Just imagine if this guy stacked muscle on, went on the weights. This would be one of the best looking guys in the country. Okay, this was him when he was probably like in his mid to late 20s. Real handsome guy. I think nobody could debate that. He's Irish as well. He's got like a lot of things going for him. Now, of course, he had to stay in shape for football. Now, when he retired, he's probably like 35. Well, he's just missed those male advantage transition years where you are bulking up and you're putting on the muscle and you're going from a boy to a man, okay? So here's what happens. I found this picture of him earlier from an interview he did recently. Now he's 50 years old. This is him on the right. Look, just some old skinny guy. Still not bad looking guy, but he's just some old skinny guy, and it only gets worse from here. Like, what's he going to go and do now? Like, unless he goes and does a TRT cycle, it doesn't end well, okay? And it just, like, that's not how you want to look at 50 years old, especially when you've got guys who are 50 years old who still look fantastic. But it comes from doing so much cardio in your muscle building years, muscle and bone mass peak at 30, and around these years, these footballing type guys, you know, when he's got all of his looks and he looks like a fucking offshoot of Colin Farrell, he's not putting the work in. Okay? It's Colin Farrell, isn't it? He's not putting the work in there. He's not in the gym, he's not lifting heavy, he's not boosting that testosterone, like he's not in a calorie surplus, because he can't be. He has to stay lean for football. And the average person is doing this in their sport, whether it's squash, swimming, hockey, whatever it might be. They're doing this shit, but they're not getting paid hundreds of fucking thousands per week like they are. And it's just the stupidest strategy ever, and that's exactly why I quit playing sport, okay? Now, obviously, as I said earlier, here's DK Metcalf. It's completely different, okay? Every guy would want this body. This guy's in fantastic shape. This is like the end goal for a lot of people if they had like top 10% genetics. You know, if they were training for like 10 years, 5-10 years, they'd end up, you know, probably falling short of just this. And he's obviously doing some level of cardio, but it's more explosive. It's 5-10 seconds sprint stop. And that's why he looks like this, because it's, you know, it's like 100-meter sprinters. They look so good compared to marathon runners. Talking to marathon runners, here's Mo Farah. You know, you want to go out and go and do loads of cardio, do you guys? You telling me, okay, Chris, you're wrong. My friend said, one person said, my family said you're wrong. In order to get in shape, you have to go and do the cardio. Okay, go ahead. Go and do this shit. Because I promise you will go, what is it, right? He's a super athlete. He's one of the best marathon runners of all time, and he is skinny fat. I don't care what anybody says. Look, he's got fat titties. Like, yeah, he's got the ribs and whatever around here, but he still looks fat. Like, there's still, like, bubbles of fat, like, around here. It doesn't look right, okay? No, he's not exactly fat, but I'm just saying, like, he's not shredded either. So he ends up being skinny fat. Like, if he sits on the couch for 1 year, this body's awful. Like, it doesn't look good as it is. Like, he's at the leanest he'll ever be there, and he's still not that lean. Reason being, he's got no muscle. Like, if he had muscle and he's padding this out, like, big, like, he doesn't even have to have a six-pack, okay? If he's just got this shit going on, plus big arms, shoulders, traps, big chest, whatever, big forearms, with this level of leanness in the abs, he's going to look massive. Going to look like an entirely different guy. But because he runs for fucking 3-4 hours at a time, 6 days a week, like, just cannot put it on. And a lot of guys are doing that. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to go and do a marathon. I've just hit a new personal best on my 10k time, and it's like, dude, trust me, nobody gives a fuck because you look like shit. Oh, I'm really fit and healthy, like I got a runner's high. Well, that is fantastic because you feel better, but I can guarantee you'll get the same buzz from going and doing a 100 kg bench press for the first time. You'll feel way better. Me and my friend the other day were doing sled push and pulls. I'll put the video up now. And I nearly collapsed at the end, and he went in the toilet to throw up. Luckily he didn't, but he was like, I don't know whether I need to shit or be sick. Like, it's much tougher cardio. It'll make you feel like shit, okay? It's fantastic. It'll push your body to the limit. You'll build a lot more muscle, and you'll feel better, okay? What else have we got? So people might say David Beckham too. Well, yeah, one of the most handsome faces in the world, okay? But look at this body. It's not impressive, is it, guys? Imagine this face with, like, David Gandy's body. Well, the most successful model of all time. Probably the best looking guy in the world. Okay? Here's another great example. I've got one here. This picture I found the other day. It's two professional top-level footballers just looking like little boys at spring break. Okay? It doesn't help. I don't know how many more examples you need. But here's a good example I found the other day. This is Memphis Depay, okay, a footballer. He's considered being in pretty good shape. He's pretty jacked. You know, tattoo, light-skinned guy. I believe he looks not exactly like, but he's got similar features to Jeff Logan, who is one of the YouTubers that I really respect, okay? Now, this is too big to be a footballer, I think. I think he's a little bit too jacked, okay? I don't think it helps on the pitch. But he still doesn't look that great. This kind of in shape, out of shape, like maybe you're halfway through your cut or something like that. It's not unbelievable, and you can see he's got the puffiness in the face, under the jaw, like it doesn't look too good, okay? Whereas we look at somebody like Jeff Logan. Here's Jeff here, like look at the difference. Very similar features, the full tattoo on the body, both light skin, whatever, both got a bit stubble. Jeff's like 20 levels above. Like, it's not even close, because he's not doing the cardio. Like, he does do cardio, but it's based around aesthetics and fitness. And if he was a footballer, he'd have to change his body. But I'm saying, like, in the average world, the average person, it's better to look like this than it is to look like this. Like, they're worlds apart, okay? You know, and we were saying about Jack Grealish earlier. Massively fit footballer, double chin. We're talking about Memphis Depay. A little bit of a double chin under here. Like, low percentage body fat doesn't really matter that much if you're not working on the aesthetics, okay? Look at Jeff Logan's jawline. Shredded. Like, that's aesthetics to the fullest, okay? And this is what happens. So many guys do all this cardio, and it's like it doesn't actually make you look good. You need to do like 2 or 3 giant bulks first, build the muscle up, become an actual man, make the transition, and focus on aesthetic issues. You're not being paid to play sport. You're doing it for enjoyment, and there's nothing wrong with doing it now and again. But if you actually want to reach the male advantage and reach your peak as a civilian, or as somebody who isn't crafted to, let's say, doesn't have to keep their body in a certain shape for sporting performance, then there's no other way. You're just wasting your time, your life, you're wasting your mini male benefits, the mini male advantages that I always talk about of like, you're in shape, you're low percent body fat, you got big muscles, okay, and girls want you, so you no longer have to worry about that in life. Like, oh, okay, that's very easy. Your confidence is up, okay, don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, it's just advantages all around the park. And if you're going out on runs all the time, playing sport, and you're thinking that it's going to help you and get you in shape as a civilian man, forget about it. It's not going to help at all. Like, there's zero benefits to actual real day-to-day life. You might get to 70 years old and you feel quite fit and healthy, and like, thank God I put, you know, that cardio work in when I was younger. But who wants that? You know, wouldn't you rather be the 37-year-old jack guy who's in shape, loads of money in the bank, looks good, strong jawline, you know, low percentage body fat, big muscles, looks good in a suit, looks good in like tight jumpers and whatever, is too big to play sports? You know, can't really run around a pitch. Cardio's like top 20% in the world. You know, it's not that hard to get to that kind of stage, but you're never going to be an elite athlete. But you look fantastic and your life is amazing. It's another element of life setup. And so many guys don't understand that once you get past a certain age, this is kind of your future, okay? This is kind of how you're going to end up. And that's top end, that's top level athlete. Like, you're going to end up with a physique like this. It's not going to go much further. Like, all the guys that I know, bar two, who still play football, who still do cardio-based sports, don't look too good, okay? They're in this kind of shape. And they certainly don't look like David Beckham. But they have this kind of body. Well, that's a 14-year-old boy's body. Like, that's not a man's body, okay? It's never really developed. Legs are a little bit bigger than an average person, but, I mean, like I said, imagine a jacked David Beckham. Be the best looking guy ever. And that's what so many guys are wasting. They cannot get away with millions in the bank in a face like this. They have to transition from a boy to a man. But so many will never do that, and it's really letting them down. If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement, Male Advantage ebook, or my personal workout and diet plan, all links are in the bio.